Key components of networking, Part 2. Networking within the industry. Business development. Networking does not end once the candidate breaks into the industry and lands a job as an investment banker. Practitioners are constantly building and maintaining their network by either developing new relationships or nurturing existing ones. Developing new relationships can either occur organically or inorganically. Organic business development. Any networking activities that occur naturally within the day-to-day operations of a banker. Inorganic business development. Any networking activities that occur outside the day-to-day operations of a banker. Component 1, preparation. The first component of business development is preparation. Let's review how to prepare for both organic and inorganic business development. Organic business development. Most organic networking occurs when the banker goes to market with a mandate. The preparation involved in organic business development is largely completed in parallel with the research required to develop a comprehensive buyer's list. When curating the buyer's list, junior bankers will complete background research on each potential investor. During outreach efforts, the bank will naturally develop or strengthen its relationship by way of showing and discussing mandates with potential investors. Inorganic business development. Most inorganic networking occurs when attending industry events, attending industry conferences, sending unsolicited outreach emails, or through update calls with potential investors or potential clients. It is common for the bankers to facilitate update calls with investors or other key players in the industry, such as potential clients. Coverage calls with sponsors. Staying close to investors in the space and trying to understand the deals they've done and what deals they might be interested in, while also gaining an understanding of the general macroeconomic trends that they are seeing in the sector. Business update calls with potential clients. This is staying close to business operators in the space to understand their current position and the timing of a potential engagement. Preparation for organic networking. Most organic networking occurs when the banker goes to market with a mandate. Because the bankers are in market, it gives them an opportunity to outreach to the investor community. Practitioners are outreaching either to their existing investor network or to new investors outside of their network. In both instances, the practitioner, through normal business activity, is networking by either maintaining an existing relationship or building a new one. Preparation involved with organic business development. When shopping a deal, the bankers reach out to investors on the buyer's list and try to set up introductory calls with respect to the deal. During the intro call, the bankers will introduce the deal and see if the investor has appetite for it. Prior to the intro call, the senior bankers need to know the investor's mandate and any recent relevant deals. Most of the preparation is completed by the junior bankers while they are developing the buyer's list prior to going to market. Questions to ask during an intro call. The preparation work is helpful to the senior bankers when they are marketing the deal to the investor. If the investor is already within the bank's existing network, there is a high probability that the senior banker is fully knowledgeable about the investor's thesis and current/past investments. But the intro call is a great opportunity for the senior bankers to get valuable face time with an existing relationship and get an update on any changes to the investor's mandate or portfolio. Some questions that the banker might ask to a new investor outside of the bank's existing network is, do you prefer majority or minority deals? Can you do both? What is your average check size? Do you use leverage? Can you lead a deal? Which sectors do you play in? Are there any targets or bolt-ons that you'd be particularly interested in? What's your typical preference on target size/stage? What is the minimum revenue of potential target that you'd look at? Does the target need to be profitable? Preparation for inorganic networking. Most inorganic networking occurs when attending industry events, attending industry conferences, sending unsolicited outreach emails, and holding update calls with potential investors or potential clients. Bankers keep a tight pulse on the industry they cover and have a strong gauge on the institutional and strategic players in the space. It is not uncommon for bankers to send unsolicited outreach emails to targeted individuals who might have a general appetite for investing in a particular mandate or potentially engaging with the banker as a client. Preparation involved for inorganic business development. One of the most effective ways to keep a pulse on the industry is to regularly run precedent transaction screens. This requires searching for recent relevant transactions in the coverage space. These searches can be formal precedent transaction screens that leverage external bank tools such as CapIQ or PitchBook, or informal screens like just reading industry news or coverage. A great way to build new relationships is to find deals that involve either an investor or a potential client outside of the bank's existing network, and to send a friendly, unsolicited email of congratulations on the transaction. Components 2 and 3, connection, and follow-up. The second and third component of business development is connecting and following up. Below are some general items that the banker should try to execute when holding networking conversations. When connecting, you should always try to establish a brand. One of the first items to cover when connecting on a business development call is to communicate credentials. For example, practitioner credentials. Introduce yourself, your position, your title, and provide a quick background on your job responsibilities. For example, do you work on execution or do you work on business development? And bank credentials. Introduce your bank and provide the bank's origin, sector, and number of deals, and the associated transaction value. The next part of connecting is to build trust. Allow the counterparty to provide background on their investment mandate and current investment interests, and then try to provide them with active or future deal flow that fits their investment mandate. The goal is to establish trust as a worthy partner that can provide the counterparty with value by either brokering potential deals to investors or providing representation in a future capital markets process for potential clients. And then component number 3, follow-up. Send a follow-up email to the counterparty thanking them for their time and recapping any action items. Record the counterparty's credentials in the bank's CRM tool in addition to logging the meeting notes, the meeting's occurrence, and scheduling any follow-up meetings. Concluding thoughts. Networking when you are outside of the industry versus inside the industry is very different. Business development between practitioners is less daunting than candidates trying to engage in informational interviewing. The difference is largely due to reputation. For instance, when you are a candidate trying to break into the industry, no one knows John Doe or John Doe's intentions. But once you become a practitioner, you represent the interests of the institution you work for, and you become John Doe, investment banker at Bank X. This is the end of class 2. The next class will focus on interviewing.